Hello, third grade. We are continuing with reading with our similes for this week. Remember, our similes is a figure of speech that compares two different things by using the words like or as, or sometimes than. But we're just going to worry about like and as. So if we wanted to compare a person with a bullet, we could do it like this. Chris was a record-setting runner and as fast as a speeding bullet. So we know when you shoot, I don't know if anyone's ever gone hunting, but if you shoot a gun, the bullet goes really fast, right? You can't even see it. So when they're saying this, they're comparing Chris as a really fast runner. Today we're going to be trying to understand the meaning of our similes. So we can use it in our everyday speech. Remember, usually we see it in poetry or in songs with the lyrics. We see similes, but we can also use it in our daily life. So if you could say, he eats like a bird, or he is as busy as an ant, we're comparing him to a bird, and we're comparing him to an ant. So you can remember, we're comparing two completely different things. So if I see this simile, let's go over what exactly does it mean. It says the trees are like a canopy protecting the road. So a canopy is kind of like a cover. So we see the trees, leaves, and branches are kind of going over the road like this, protecting it. And a canopy is something that you cover and protect something. So they're comparing the trees to a canopy because it's protecting the road. But if I say, this church is like a magical castle in the sky. So this church, why would we think it is a magical castle in the sky? Because you can see the clouds over here, or this fog makes it look like it's in the clouds. So that's what they're kind of saying. It looks high above and it looks like nothing's around. And with the fog or clouds, it looks like it's up in the sky. Or we can say the lake is as smooth as glass. So we see the word as, so we know it's a simile. So smooth as glass. So I want us to think, what could this mean? Well, and we know it's winter because of the snow, and it looks like snow. This is white. Is smooth as glass. So then the lake is probably frozen. And I don't know if you've ever seen a frozen lake, but usually the water is just still. It can't move. It's like ice. And if you touch it, it's smooth. And sometimes people go ice skating on it. So if we see glass, we know that that is very smooth as well. So they're just saying the lake almost looks like glass. So for today, what we want to do is we're going to read a sentence with a simile, and we have to decide, what are they talking about? So if I see the sentence, trying to find my missing sock was like looking for a needle in a haystack. So now when you read that, I want you to think of a haystack. It's like a big bundle of hay tied up, and needles, they're like this big. They're really small. Could you imagine finding a needle in a haystack? It would take a lot of time. So they're saying that it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of time to find the missing sock. So the sock was in a haystack. They don't mean it's literally in a haystack. They mean that it's almost impossible to find. Because remember, with our simile, we're taking two different things that aren't alike, and we're not saying they are the same thing, we're just comparing them. All right, so now let's go over this one. The workers hurried around the office like worker ants. So now we have to think. So we're talking about workers, and they're in the office. What do workers usually do in the office? Usually they're at their job and they're working, and we're comparing them to worker ants. And remember, so when we did our leaf cutter on Monday in science, we talked about the ants. Remember, they always have a job. They're always working. They're really busy. So if I see this, I think, are the workers exercising? No, I don't think they're working out. The workers were busy. Yeah, because they're in the office. They can't sit down for a minute. They're not working out for fun exercising. They're working because they're doing their job. So I'd say the workers were busy. And let's do one more together. Jared eats his lunch just like a cow chewing grass. So I don't know if you've ever seen a cow chewing grass, but they kind of go and they just stuff it in. So Jared eats lunch on the farm. Well, they're not actually talking about a farm. They're just saying Jared's eating like a cow. Jared eats rudely with his mouth open. Do cows close their mouth when they eat? No, because they just sit there and chomp, chomp, chomp. So I'd say Jared eats rudely with his mouth open. Because we're not saying that, our similes aren't saying we are exactly here. We're just comparing. And it's supposed to be a little funny. All right, and that is it for today. So take your time reading the simile, reading the sentence, deciding, okay, what's going on? We're not saying that these are exactly the same, but we're comparing it and painting an image in your head. All right, have a great rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow.